Hi there YouTube and welcome to Tech Cravers. Today I thought I'd guide you through the process of using Emulation Station as your emulator frontend on your Steam Deck. Emulation Station is a graphical and themable emulator frontend that allows you to access all your favorite retro games in one convenient place. This will allow for you to have a clean Steam OS with not as many games in your library that are hard to get a proper overview of. For instance, I have hundreds of old NES and SNES games that I want to get a good overview of. Simply put, Emulation Station will be your simple one way into the world of retro gaming on your Steam Deck. Now let's get to it. Before you follow these steps, I'm gonna assume that you have already installed emulators via EmuDeck, or at least watched my in-depth guide on how to install emulators through EmuDeck on your Steam Deck. But I'm still gonna show you real quick how to get started. Simply open your browser and head over to emudeck.com and then head to download and download the latest version of EmuDeck to your Steam Deck. Maybe I should mention that you can, of course, download and install all these emulators and the Emulation Station frontend itself from their respective websites, but EmuDeck does this in such a convenient and easy way that that's the way I prefer to use. So when you have downloaded the EmuDeck installer, just drag it to your desktop and launch it, and you should be able to click through the whole installation process without me commenting. And as I mentioned in the beginning, you can always go back and look at my in-depth guide on how to install the emulators or add games to the respective folders. Once your installation is complete and you have transferred your games and the eventual BIOS files to the right folders, open up Steam ROM Manager so we can decide which games we want to be visible in our Steam library. By clicking these green buttons, we can decide which emulators we want to be shown in our Steam library. All the emulators that I'm hiding here, but I still have games for on my Steam Deck, I will instead be able to reach from the Emulation Station frontend, which is of course the main purpose of this guide. I usually end up hiding everything older than Wii U and PlayStation 3. And once you have decided, you can just scroll up and go into Preview, Generate App List, wait for EmuDeck to download all the art files, click on Save App List, close down Steam ROM Manager and head back to gaming mode. In my Collections tab, I now only have the newer systems. Actually, I forgot to hide PlayStation 2, but that's okay. What's interesting here is this app here called Emulation Station. Fire it up and I'll guide you through how to set it up. This is the default theme for Emulation Station. I'm not a big fan of it myself, but luckily we can change it easily and I'm gonna show you how in a second. Thanks to the fact that this is installed through EmuDeck, Emulation Station already knows where to look for our game files and recognize all the systems without us needing to do anything. I'm gonna show you a few cool tweaks, but first I'm gonna have to change this theme. So press start and then UI settings and then go to theme set and choose your favorite theme. Oh, and one more thing I forgot to mention, go to transition style and change to instant so you will get this smooth transitions. Now you're actually basically done here and ready to play all your old classics. But I did promise you a few cool tweaks, didn't I? For instance, we do have this nice scrollable menu now. The games themselves aren't that aesthetically appealing though, but rest assured we're going to change that now. Simply click on the Start or Menu button and we're going to use this thing called Scraper. It works the same way as Steam ROM Manager in the way that it will fetch all the artwork we'll need for our old games. So start by choosing your scraping server. You can choose between Screen Scraper or the games database. I tend to use Screen Scraper as it has a bigger collection of artwork. However, the servers can be down sometimes and you'll have to wait until they are up and running again. After that, you can choose which system to scrape, and for the purpose of this video I am only doing PlayStation 2, but you can select all if you want to. Keep in mind that it will take some time though, so make sure you have stable Wi-Fi and enough juice in your battery. You must also get yourself an account at their website, so head over there and create one now if you haven't already. It's absolutely free. Once you have created your account, use your account information in the account settings as I have done here. Now there is one more thing we can do before we start the scrape process, and that is to choose what to actually scrape. You can choose basically anything from game names and ratings to different types of box art, video previews and screenshots. Choose as you prefer, then start scraping. Depending on how much art you chose to fetch and for how many games, this can take a while, so go grab a coffee and get back when it's done. exit out of the menu, and as you can see, we now have a much better looking overview of our games, including videos, box art and more. If the scrape process misses a game, you can manually look it up yourself. Just click the Options button and go down to Edit this game's metadata. Scroll all the way down to Scrape, and then Refine Search. Here you can simply search for the game you're looking for. Another neat little tweak is to enable the Favorite Hub, where you can easily reach your favorite games. Click Start, then Game Collection Settings, then Automatic Game Collection, and put a checkmark in the Favorites box. Games that you mark as a favorite by pressing the Y button will now end up in this list. Now I'm gonna show you something that used to give me a headache. I actually was surprised when I saw that EmuDeck has implemented it straight into their installer and made it so easy that even my 6-year-old son can do it. And that is to add bezels into the classic consoles in RetroArch. Since the aspect ratio isn't exactly standard anymore, we'll get these black sides in NES games for example, but let's make it a little more appealing, shall we? Exit out of Emulation Station and head back to your Steam Deck's desktop mode and once again start up the EmuDeck installer that you probably still have on your desktop. Choose Expert mode at the start, and once you get to this list of things you can choose to install or tweak, just uncheck everything except the box for Turn on bezels for RetroArch. Let the installer complete, exit out of it and return to gaming mode. You should now have bezels for all your classic games running using RetroArch. There is one last thing I want to tell you about, and that is all the hotkeys that is pre-configured into the emulators you use with Emulation Station. For example, you can fast forward using Select plus Start in RetroArch, which is the emulator I use for classic games such as NES and SNES. The same button combination also works in the GameCube and Wii emulator Dolphin. You can also use save states, swap between screens, and perhaps the most important hotkey of them all, exit out of a game straight back to Emulation Station and not to your Steam OS. As I said, it's pre-configured, and I'll leave a link to where you can read them all in the video description. And that's been it for this video, guys. We have gone through how to install and set up Emulation Station, which is basically a digital bookshelf for all your retro games that you might have. We have also gone through how to get box art, etc. through scraping, and how to get bezels and use hotkeys in games. I hope you enjoyed the video and that it helped you out. If it did, please let me know by leaving a like or a comment on what you liked or what you didn't like. And please consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. Thanks for watching.